But that's not the difference that I'm interested in. The biggest difference is in the low end. The low end on the lighter gauge strings is much tighter and more direct, it's less flubby, and it's really apparent to my ear when I'm using reverb and delay. It's also helping a lot in my overdrive.
Let's see. Live. Okay, so I watched Rhett Shulls' video, and to be honest, I'll link it below. I watched Rick's video as well, and I respect Rick just because of his years. I'm talking about Rick Beato. A man so long in the business has a very well refined ear, as well as Dave. To be honest, I wasn't really that surprised. This is strung with 9s, this is my 50 Strat, and my 60s is strung with 10s, but she's always tuned down to E flat. She's for all my Hendrix and, you know, Stevie covering Hendrix and John Mayer covering Stevie. I always played 9s. I knew that they played heavier strings. I always liked 9s more pragmatically. Just being able to pull that full note all the way up. The full step up. Just being able to get that the full step. It's a lot easier with 9s than it is with 10s, just because of the size of the string and the, you know, the tension between. So I always prefer 9s. My PRS has 9s on them as well, and it's a feel thing. It's totally a feel thing. For me, my ear isn't really 100% developed enough to really be able to say I can hear a difference. Especially going through a Fender Champion, you're not really going to be able to hear the difference. Going through a tube amp, something more articulate, something faster, you'll probably be able to tell the difference. But if tone is in your hands, and strings affect how you play more than what comes out of the amp, we all know that's going to affect how your tone is. John Mayer speaks a lot about how, oh, it's just the strings, right? He gets on stage at NAMM and he plays his PRS and he... and he says, oh, it's the perfect bounce and the perfect amount of compression between the amp, and it responds so quick. And maybe people don't really know what that is exactly. I certainly didn't know what that is exactly. But it's the relationship of tension between here and here. And if that's just right, the strings bounce back right after you hit them, and it's fast and it's responsive, and you can feel that. You can feel that when you're doing the rhythmic thing, when you're doing the percussive thing. And it's really important. And once you find a guitar, you play a guitar which has that. Like I played a John Mayer signature based on the Stevie Artist series by Fender, and then I played the PRS. And the PRS was just set up well, and the Fender signature was not set up as well. And that made the strings they just felt better. It caused me to play more articulately, to play with more feel, and the strings make a difference more to how you play than how they actually sound. So if you're playing with more finesse, boom, I remember the word. If you're playing with more finesse, like Rhett says, then go right ahead, and you should definitely switch out for 9s. But if you have giant fingers and, I don't know, I think you should definitely switch down to 9s. So we're gonna take the white one, my 60 Strat, and we're gonna restring her with 9s. Cue the montage, be a roll, you know. I'm confident I'll be able to feel the difference in the playability. I'm not confident I'll be able to tell a difference in tone, but it will definitely make it easier to play. And I do have to adjust the intonation and probably the claw on the back. But just to reiterate again, it is so important that you keep optimizing, that people who keep on buying new strings and keep on exploring, if you haven't been playing guitar for 20 years, how are you supposed to know exactly what you like? Like, Meet somebody who's been playing guitar for 3 years and they're like, oh yeah, I only play 3/5s. You know, they cover all the bases. There is no guitar that you bring stranded on an island forever. You have to keep looking, you have to keep searching for your favorite gear. And I think that as a gearhead, that's like 50% of the fun. Hopefully, the audio will be a bit better. There have been some changes. The more astute viewers of the channel will realize there's something wrong here. A 1950s guitar would have a skunk line, and a 1960s guitar would have no skunk line. You may have noticed in the time lapse, I changed the necks. I just traded them out. Like everything, there's a good excuse. I bought a Stratocaster because John Mayer plays a Stratocaster. My favorite one of John Mayer's Stratocasters was his, well, is still today, his 1963 or 64, nobody really knows, sunburst, kind of Stevie Ray Vaughan style. Who's making noise? A Strat. I bought a road-worn, made in Mexico, 1960s style, like this guy, and it never showed up. The order was online, and I got a phone call saying that somebody had bought it in the store moments before. I never was able to get my hands on it, but I did get this, and this is a 1950s. As you can see, it's two-tone sunburst, not three-tone sunburst, which is 1950s-esque. I also bought the 1960s, but I was afraid the neck would be too small and my thumb wouldn't be able to reach around to the top. Fast forward a couple months, one thing led to another, our favorite part of every story, one thing led to another, and my thumb can reach over a modern C-shaped neck. And yesterday, new day, I don't change twice in a day. Yesterday, I switched out the strings and I was polishing everything down, wiping it all down, making sure everything was clean, there was no unnecessary sawdust getting in the way. I decided to just change the necks. I had to adjust the truss rod on this guy, on the 60s neck. I even wrote down in permanent marker which neck was for which, what day I had bought it, and that they were mine, so that everybody would always know that if you take apart this guitar, it'll say my name under there. And then I just thought, why don't I switch the necks out and see how they play? Put the 60s neck on the 50s body, and put this 50s body on the 60s, put the 50s neck on the 60s body. which I always like. This is his like kind of inspired after John Mayer's Where the Light Is Jimi Hendrix guitar, which is a reverse proto by 70s, and this is a 60s, I understand, well really 50s with a 60s style logo, but it's white on a maple board on a Olympic white guitar, which I really like the way it looks, and I like the idea of being able to name one of my guitars Blondie, because, well, I think the name speaks for itself. And I strung them up. Of course, they hadn't been restrung in quite a while. Just the new strings, like Rhett says, just the new strings really added that that bell, that clarity, that percussiveness. And I could not put these guitars down. I played for 3 hours last night, at least 3 hours last night. I didn't have time to finish the video. I couldn't put them down. They were so good. This guy especially played incredible with the rosewood board. It's actually a Paul Furo. I don't know how to pronounce that, so don't give me hate for it. They both they have taken on characteristics that feel so much more at home, and it's insane. The Olympic White, which I am now effectively calling Blondie, was wearing 10s, and now of course, and I'm not sponsored by Ernie Ball yet, and now she's wearing 9s. She's still really loud. Her middle pickup is super loud. I'm gonna have them changed out. Maybe Texas Specials, because I play a lot of Stevie on this. Now these are tuned down, and but yeah, in summation, 9s are the move. Change your strings more often than you realize. It's totally worth it. Buy in bulk from Ernie Ball. Maybe even subscribe to them on Amazon. It'll be linked below. You can subscribe and they'll send you new ones every single month. I'm gonna start changing my strings much more frequently. Tonally, you can hear the difference so clearly, and you can feel the difference so easily. There's no sweat and grime and buildup, which happens so gradually that you don't realize. It is so important. Change your strings. Lots of people will not change their strings. So, in summation, you should use 9s. You should change your strings often. It's important. It really helps with your tone. It helps being inspired. You want to play more because you sound so good. And that's the main thing. So, lesson learned. I should double check what my closing shot is. I think it's just me playing out. And yeah, let's play out to It's Really Over on the 60s Strat. Fun. And we're gonna record. Sorry for not playing the minor over the last chord. There it is.